Welcome to the deep dive. This is your shortcut to getting really well informed without drowning in information. Today, we're tackling something pretty fundamental, really core to, well, any business, creating the business.
Mhm.
Our guide for this is a fantastic little booklet, almost like a workbook, yeah, designed to help founders get total clarity on their business model.
Exactly. And our mission really is to unpack those essential questions. The ones every single person thinking about starting a business or even running one now needs to ask. It's about taking that initial spark, that idea, and turning it into something real, something actionable. Look, this isn't abstract theory. It's a practical way to get under the hood and understand the DNA of a successful business, one that can actually last.
Totally. So maybe you're dreaming of launching something, or you've got a business and want to sharpen it up, or hey, maybe you're just curious how great companies get built. Stick with us because this deep dive, it's going to give you some crucial insights, maybe even a few aha moments along the way. Okay, let's get into it. Starting big picture, right? Those foundational questions that kind of set everything else up. The source material jumps right in, which I like. No messing around. First big one. What's going to be truly different or, unique about your business?
Hmm.
And it's not just about being a tiny bit better. You mentioned Dyson earlier. They didn't just tweak a vacuum, they completely rethought it. Cyclonic, bagless.
Right. That's the level we're talking about, something that stops people in their tracks. It's
Yeah.
about creating a real advantage, a moat.
Exactly. Otherwise, you're just competing on price, which is usually a race to the bottom.
And tied right into that uniqueness is the next big question. What specific problem are you solving? This is just, it's everything, really. Like, Source says you have to pinpoint the precise issue your product or service addresses. And it talks about collecting customer tales, real stories.
Real stories, like how does that work?
Well, imagine our fictional startup, EcoStride Smart Shoes,
Hmm.
sustainable, injury-preventing running shoes. The problem isn't just runners need shoes, no. It's more like runners suffer preventable injuries from bad mechanics, and their old shoes pile up in landfills. See? Much more specific.
Got it. So those stories, those tales of knee pain or guilt about throwing shoes away, they actually shape the product design.
Directly. They have to.
Uh-huh.
And the source challenges you.
Uh-huh.
Can you state that problem in like 2 or 3 sentences,
Yeah.
under 50 words? That forces real clarity.
Okay, clear problem statement. Then what tangible benefits do people get? And who specifically are you helping? Who tries the first version?
And that brings up a really important point. What evidence, what data do you actually have that suggests your solution can fix this problem? For EcoStride, maybe it's biomechanics data showing less impact or tests proving the recycled materials last. You need some proof, not just hope.
Right, because solving a problem nobody actually has is, well, it's pointless, isn't it?
Exactly.
So, you've nailed the problem. Next step, who has that problem? Let's dig into the customer section. It's all about defining that target audience, that demographic. Who are your optimal customers?
For EcoStride, maybe it's marathon runners, 25 to 45, city dwellers, care about sustainability.
Yeah.
Get the picture.
Yeah. But here's what I found really interesting. It also asks who you will not work with.
Yes, that's so clarifying. Knowing who isn't your customer saves so much time and energy. Maybe EcoStride decides, look, we're not for the casual walker just looking for the cheapest option. That's okay.
Focuses your efforts. Then the big one, willingness to pay. Will those eco-conscious runners actually pay a premium for what EcoStride offers?
Critical question.
Hmm.
And the source also makes you think about people already buying similar things but who are unhappy. Maybe runners using other high-tech shoes but still getting injured, or annoyed their expensive shoes fall apart. How do you win them over?
Good point. And what about people who aren't buying similar stuff now, but maybe could be persuaded? Like people who thought about running but were scared off by injury risk or the environmental side.
Yeah, another potential group. And then there are those who have the problem, say, nagging injuries, but don't even know a solution like yours exists or where to find it.
Ah, so that's a pure marketing and awareness challenge then.
Huge opportunity, often missed. And finally, the source asks you to actually visualize your potential customers. Not just a number, but like picture a room full of them. Who are they? Describe them.
Makes it much more real.
Okay, so we know the problem, we know the customer. Naturally, that leads us to products and services and how you develop them. What's really key here is the feedback loop, especially around MVPs and MLPs.
Right. Minimum viable product and minimum lovable product.
It's exactly. The MVP is the bare bones version to just test your core idea. Does it solve the basic problem? For EcoStride, maybe it's a simple shoe with just the impact sensor. Get it out, get feedback, Fast.
And the MLP.
That's where you add a bit more polish, maybe some personality, enough so people don't just use it, they kind of like it. They start talking about it. For EcoStride, perhaps that's when you really highlight the recycled materials, add a cool app feature, maybe a personalized training tip. That lovable factor drives early buzz.
So it's all about that feedback. And the source says get feedback not just from your main target, but even from people not buying similar things now.
Yeah, their perspective can be really valuable. And you need to understand your costs, obviously. Cost to develop, cost per unit, cost at scale, plus who's most ready to buy right now, and how do you actually tell people how your stuff solves their problem, what makes it unique?
For EcoStride, is it the green angle? The tech? Both. How do you frame that message?
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that ties into generating those customer success stories we talked about. How do you get people talking positively about you, naturally?
Okay, and then the development process itself. How long does it actually take to get something sellable out, an MVP, an MLP?
And do you need to rush it? Sometimes speed is critical, sometimes patience is better. How can you make development more efficient? Can you learn from other industries, other companies?
And here's a mind bender. How do you create stuff people will want in the future, not just what they want today?
That's the forward-thinking part, isn't it? Anticipating needs. For EcoStride, maybe it's not just smart shoes, but shoes that adapt or shoes you can fully recycle into new shoes.
Wow. Okay. And how do you make something impervious to price competition? That sounds like the holy grail.
It doesn't mean being cheap. It means building value that's hard to copy. A super strong brand, unique tech, amazing customer service, something people pay a premium for because there's just no substitute.
Yeah.
Think about certain luxury brands or tech companies with really locked-in ecosystems.
Right. And finally, that strategic choice. One core product. Variations. A whole range.
Okay, so we've got the product. Now, how do you measure success? That brings us to performance. How do you actually understand and measure the feelings, the benefits your products create? For EcoStride, are you tracking injury reduction, surveying how happy people feel about the sustainability,
Tangible results.
and identifying key metrics? The source suggests 5 to 10 core ones for the business overall. What are they? Why those? Will they need to change later? And critically, how will any new feature or product actually move the needle on one of those specific metrics?
Connects everything back. And performance isn't just numbers, right? It's the team, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you build a team? Who do you hire? What's the culture, the ethos going to be like? What's the experience of working for you and with you?
And then mapping out the journey. Milestones, goals, risks, opportunities, even potential personal roadblocks for the founder. It's a really complete picture.
It is. And flowing from performance and team, we hit something vital but often less tangible, trust and credibility. The source asks a blunt question early on. Do you overpromise and underdeliver or underpromise and overdeliver?
Oof. Big implications either way.
Huge. And what's the fundamental reason people will trust you? Your credibility. For EcoStride, is it transparency? Data. Guarantees.
Yeah, it's more than just having a good product, isn't it? It's about the success stories, again, creating raving fans.
Exactly. How do you build and protect your reputation? How do you earn loyalty, repeat business, and practically, what do you do when things go wrong? Because they will. How do you handle customer issues?
And how does that trust translate online? Your website, social media, how do
Yeah.
you build credibility there?
Consistency, authenticity, it all ties together.
Okay, so zooming out a bit now, the environment market and time today and tomorrow. This is about the bigger picture, right?
Right. And the source introduces a really useful tool, PESTLE analysis. Political, economic, social, technological, legal, and environmental. Think about that UK cosmetics example. Brexit impacting trade. That's political. Economy affecting luxury buys. Economic. Demand for vegan products. Social. New online sales tech. Technological. Data privacy rules. Legal. Packaging waste regulations. Environmental.
So PESTLE helps you scan everything that could affect your business.
Precisely. And it helps you understand how customer desires change over time. What did they want 5 years ago? What now? What about in 2 years or 5? And why the shifts?
You need to anticipate those waves.
And what trends affect demand and supply for your stuff? Who are your competitors now? Who might they be later? For EcoStride, is it just Nike and Adidas, or maybe tech companies moving into wearables?
Good point. And who are you targeting now? Early adopters, price shoppers, people switching brands, and how might that change in, say, 2 years?
Yeah, maybe early adopters prove the concept, then you aim for the mainstream.
So we've covered a ton. How does this all come together? The source has this business template idea.
Yeah, it's like a synthesis. It gives you structured ways to state things, like the value proposition. For a target customer who is unhappy with current options due to the core problem, your business offers your solution category that provides key benefit.
Okay, so for EcoStride. For active runners unhappy with regular shoes due to eco impact and injuries, EcoStride offers smart, sustainable shoes that prevent injury and reduce waste. Something like that. Exactly, clear and concise. Then it introduces these useful lenses. The 4U's for needs. Is the problem unworkable, unavoidable, urgent, underserved?
Helps you qualify the problem's intensity.
Right. And for your solution, the 3Ds. Is it discontinuous, a real leap forward, defensible, hard to copy, disruptive, changes the game?
Powerful checks. And there was SLAP too.
Yeah, SLAP product characteristics. Simple to use, low initial cost, instant and ongoing value, plays well with other things the customer uses. Just makes adoption easier.
Makes sense. Easy to say yes to. And crucially, it brings it back to emotion. How will customers feel working with you? Why will they decide to choose you? What words will they use when recommending you?
That word of mouth aspect again.
Mm-hmm. And finally, it doesn't forget the founder, your own awareness, attitude, aptitude. Are you an athlete type who pulls people in? Are you authentic? What are your core skills? That personal inventory is just as critical.
Wow. Okay, that really was a deep dive.
Right.
We've gone from the biggest questions right down to the nitty-gritty of metrics, trust, the market, even the founder's mindset. Using this kind of structured thinking, it feels like you could build something really solid, you know?
That's the whole idea, thinking through all these angles, problem, customer, solution, market, yourself. It gives you a robust blueprint. It sets you up for intentional growth, helps you anticipate challenges. It turns a fuzzy idea into a real workable vision.
Fantastic. So, as everyone listening is processing all of this, maybe turning it over in their own minds, here's a final thought for you to chew on. Considering everything we've discussed, the market, the customer, the finances, the trust, what is the one single core value that your business would absolutely never compromise on, no matter the pressure? What's your immovable rock? Thanks so much for joining us on the deep dive today. We really hope this gives you some powerful tools to think about your own business ideas.